You're listening to Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. This podcast is brought to you by Pauline's Multimedia. Discover the saints. Be inspired to live like one.
Hello, and welcome back to Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. We're so glad you're here. As always, we're on a quest to find light, inspiration, and insight from the holy men and women who have walked before us, discovering how their faith, struggles, and triumphs can inspire us to live with purpose, compassion, and courage today.
It's wonderful to be back, and today we're diving into the life of a saint who carried the cross in a very real way, physically, spiritually, and emotionally.
That's right. Today's episode is titled A Life Marked by the Cross, and it's all about Saint Padre Pio. He's remembered for his humility, his miracles, and of course his famous words, pray, hope, and don't worry.
Padre Pio was born Francesco Fergione in 1887 in a little farming town in southern Italy called Pietrelcina. His family was poor, but their faith was strong.
And even as a child, Francesco was different. He prayed constantly, even while tending sheep, and he spoke of seeing angels and saints. Imagine being a little boy and already living with that kind of spiritual awareness.
Incredible. At 15, he joined the Capuchin Franciscans and took the name Brother Pio. But his path wasn't easy. He was frail, often sick, and he endured intense spiritual battles. He once said, "The life of a Christian is nothing but a perpetual struggle against self."
And yet, he pressed on. In 1910, he was ordained a priest, and soon after, he was assigned to San Giovanni Rotondo, the friary where he would spend the rest of his life.
Then came 1918. While praying before a crucifix, Padre Pio received the Stigmata, the wounds of Christ in his hands, feet, and side.
Can you imagine? Those wounds stayed with him for 50 years. Painful? Yes, but also a constant reminder of Christ's passion.
And not everyone believed. The Vatican investigated him, and at times he was even forbidden from celebrating public mass or hearing confessions.
That must have been so hard, bearing the wounds of Christ and then being doubted for them. But he obeyed. He never sought fame. He simply said, "I only want to be a poor friar who prays."
And yet, God gave him extraordinary gifts, reading souls in confession, healings, even bilocation. But perhaps his greatest gift was his ministry of reconciliation. He would spend up to 16 hours a day in the confessional.
16 hours! That's a life poured out for others. People traveled from all over the world to hear him say, "God is merciful."
And at the heart of it all was prayer. Padre Pio loved the Rosary, calling it the weapon for these times.
And of course, his most famous words, pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer.
I love how simple that is. It's not complicated theology, it's daily trust.
And his holiness wasn't just mystical. In 1956, he founded the Casa Sollievo della Sofferenza, the house for the relief of suffering.
A hospital, right?
Yes, and not just any hospital. It combined excellent medical care with spiritual support. For Padre Pio, the cross wasn't just about his own suffering, it was about lifting the burdens of others.
He carried that mission until the very end. In September 1968, just after celebrating the 50th anniversary of receiving the Stigmata, he died at the age of 81.
And here's something remarkable. Just before his death, the wounds of the Stigmata disappeared, leaving only faint scars.
Over 100,000 people came to his funeral, and in 2002, Pope John Paul II canonized him as Saint Pio of Pietrelcina.
So as we wrap up, what's the big insight we can take away from Saint Padre Pio's life today?
For me, it's that holiness is often marked by the cross. Padre Pio's life wasn't easy. He endured illness, spiritual battles, even suspicion from the very church he loved. And yet he embraced it all with humility, offering his suffering to God.
Exactly. His wounds, his struggles, and his sacrifices all point us back to Christ. And through it all, he kept repeating those simple but powerful words: pray, hope, and don't worry. Worry is useless. God is merciful and will hear your prayer.
That's the challenge for us today. When worry creeps in, when life feels heavy, we can choose to pray instead of panic, to hope instead of despair, and to trust that God's mercy is greater than our fears.
Because holiness isn't about escaping suffering, it's about letting suffering draw us closer to God, just as Padre Pio did.
Thank you for joining us on Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. We hope the story of Saint Padre Pio has inspired you today.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss our next episode. And join us next time for another journey with another incredible saint. Until then, go out and do a small thing with great love.
And remember, discover the saints. Be inspired to live like one.